Hey, hey, movie maniacs! My name is Sky, and you can see that guy on the other side of the screen. His name is Dusty. That's my brother. Dust, I have a question for you. Do you remember when you took me surf skeet shooting back in the day, and I almost shot you, but I knocked the tail off your surfboard instead?
That was so much fun. I mean, how can you not like who would think of doing something like this? But why did nobody think of this before?
I know.
Surf skeet shooting. I mean, dude, that a combination of two awesome things: shooting, skeet shooting, and surfing. Two amazing things that go really, really well together, like peanut butter and jelly,
And
or peanut butter and
basketball.
chocolate and basketball.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, though. I mean, assuming you can get permitting or whatever, that would be a pretty cool activity. Really dangerous, but worth giving it a shot, especially if everybody on the beach was like standing behind plexiglass or something, you know?
I think they should do a MythBusters to see if that's actually possible to actually hit a skeet while surfing and see
Yep.
if it would work.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, me and my youngest son Dalen, we play Fortnite together, and the other day he pulled off something amazing I never thought could have been possible. I was flying the helicopter. He was riding next to me with his sniper rifle from about 150 meters away. Boom, nailed a guy headshot while I was flying the helicopter. Just amazing. If you remember the movie Sniper with Billy Zane, one of your favorite actors, he pulled off a shot like that in the movie Sniper. Well, Dalen in Fortnite can do the same thing.
Man, so it's possible. If
It
it
is.
can happen in Fortnite, it's absolutely humanly possible.
True dat.
Yeah, you kind of thinking of what was that movie with Will Smith recently? Clone, or that clone movie.
Gemini Man.
There you go, Gemini Man.
Yep.
So, but watching him at the opening scene shooting a moving train, from like 1,000 yards out,
Whatever
like
it was,
there's
a mile and a half out.
exactly, literally. Now, in movies, they say it all the time. That's an impossible shot, but it happened, so it's awesome. No, that's literally impossible. Literally impossible.
Yep.
And so it's even if MythBusters try to make it time perfectly and all that sort of stuff, it's literally impossible. But yeah, so with this movie being a spoof, that's not a see, spoofs are like I can think of many different movies, like Scary Movie. That's like a spoof. Is this considered a spoof, or is it like a whole like a different genre of just like slapstick funny comedy?
Yeah, to me, it is just a spy spoof. They take a lot of elements of espionage, James Bond type stuff, and put a funny twist on it. But not just spy, but also maybe kind of like army, because you have the revolution versus the German soldiers. So I guess it's a combination spoof movie.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of spoof. Like, there's nothing really that it's taken from. It's other than like real life events and things like that.
I
It's not,
see
didn't
what
take
you're
it from
saying.
a
Like,
movie.
spoof is Star Wars. Scary Movie is like your basic horror movie kind of spoof. I know what you're saying now.
Yeah, exactly. And I asked this question, or you might have asked it, but I can't remember which movie it was. Maybe like not Ghostbuster. No, it might have been like Spaceballs, but they don't make any spoof movies anymore. Like right now, currently, we have not had one. It's been at least 10 years that I remember, and it probably has been, but nothing really good that has come out in a long time.
Not that I can think of. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to Google it. Like, Not Another Teen Movie. That was a spoof, but it wasn't a funny one. And then they had like Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 was probably made in like 2006, but it wasn't a good one. Maybe the whole spoof genre. Maybe because the Abrams, Abrams and Zucker, the guys who did this, they did other movies too. Maybe they kind of like got out of the genre, so it's just not as popular anymore. But I've always loved spoof movies. Big fan.
Yeah. Now, you and I have the same type of, I guess, funny bone, like watching things and thinking things are funny, like Dumb and Dumber. Obviously, just about every single guy thinks Dumb and Dumber is hilarious. Most women are like, oh my goodness, you want to watch that again? So we have that same type of humor. And so I was watching this. Melissa was in the room, and she was doing other things. And she just, every once in a while, look up and see it, and she'd see like, why are you laughing? I'm like, because it's funny.
For sure it was. And one of the things I really liked, it's been a long time since I've seen this one. You said the same thing last week when we were talking about it. And I didn't remember how many visual jokes there were. so much of the movie. Like, let's just say there's 100 jokes in the movie, 95 of them are visual. You know, not many of them are like storytelling, speaking kind of jokes. Other than when they were introducing all the French resistance names, they were all types of food. They were all like deja vu, like your name on the screen right here on YouTube. Deja
Avant-garde.
Yeah, avant-garde. Yeah, latrine. You know, stuff
latrine.
Like that. Yeah, so good. But most of the jokes visual, and I think I really love that about this movie because I had a really good time watching it again. And like just watching for things, if you were just listening to it in the background, it wouldn't be a funny movie. Like if your wife, like you said, in the background doing dishes, laundry or something and just kind of listening, it's not funny at all. But then, you know, as soon as you watch and you see the guy get off the motorcycle, he puts the reins over the wood post like it was a horse. I mean, I cracked up at that. Loved seeing
Same
it.
thing when they are escaping the whatever that place was, and they say, no, you know, the bicycles, yeah, and they take off, things like that. It's like, yeah, it's not supposed to be like literally realistic. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be like something that's you normally would think of other things, and they piece them together like horses and bikes. Let's make them seem like they're together. They're the same thing, and have them ride off. And you know, it's just really, really funny because they just think of new ways of making you look at the world. And even that scene where they had, I can't remember, the one guy in the book barn or the book place had the big magnifying glass with the weird eye, all that stuff was just really, really funny. But they're doing that entire thing backwards. It's just like, what in the world's going on? I can't understand what's going on, but it makes it seem like it's forward. It's just a fun way of telling a story and just entertaining people.
For sure. And 100%, this movie entertained me. And I just got to dive into it. My favorite visual gag was punching the soldier. He falls off and breaks like ceramic on the ground. Absolutely love it. But my favorite scene was the underwater saloon bar fight. I did not remember it from my previous watchings. When I saw it, I was blown away by it. Such a fun, that must have been a hellish day or 3 days for those actors to do it, but so worth it on screen, I thought.
On screen, and you're right, I literally did not remember that scene where they're fighting underwater. It looks like a saloon, everything. Like at first, you don't see anything. Like they're just fighting, and then another piece comes in the picture of, hey, they're in a saloon, and then another piece, and then another piece, and the bartender, then the people playing poker, and all that sort of stuff. And I thought of you when I saw the guys playing poker. I'm like, oh, there's probably Sky who want to play poker. But sure. There are so many funny things, and so for me, there were so many entertaining. Well, before we get into my favorite scene, I would say the nostalgia factor was really riding this movie so high because I haven't seen it in at least 20 years. But watching it again, as I was watching, I was like, it's funny, but there are so many other movies like Spaceballs I would absolutely watch. Naked Gun, or at least I haven't seen that one in a long time. That one would be probably a really funny one to watch. But as I'm watching this one, I guess I just kind of thought, you know what, I remember it being funnier. Did you have that sense of feeling?
Yes, I did the exact same thing. And you mentioned 2 movies just then that I would totally recommend to anybody over this one. But at the same time, this is still really funny, totally worth seeing. But I think you're right. That the nostalgia thing, like thinking back on Top Secret, I loved it as we were growing up. And just I don't know, lost its edge might be the thing. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but still totally good, and I recommend it to people. So if you had that kind of feeling and it didn't live up to your expectations from prior viewings from a kid, what grade do you give it watching it now?
So yeah, it definitely knocked it down because before we watched it just now, I was like, dude, it's got to be a solid A, maybe A minus, like at the lowest. But watching it again, and I'm factoring the nostalgia factor, and honestly, I will more than likely never watch the movie again. Even though I enjoyed it, there were some funny parts and there were really good things in it. I give it because it's a nostalgic factor. It bumped up. Remember, we don't give C's just because it's so easy to give a C. And so it's definitely not a D plus movie. It's better than that, in my opinion. And I don't think it's B plus for just because of why I'm never going to watch it again. So for me, it's a solid B movie, if not almost leaning towards B minus. So I'm going to say, but here's the thing. The saving grace is Val Kilmer. I mean, he's amazing. Yeah. So if he's in it, it's going to be a solid B. So it jumps, just him being alone, he's going to take it from a B minus to a B.
So you're telling
me, what about you?
Loincloth Nigel doesn't bump it up to a B plus for you?
What's the younger Nigel. Yeah, no, the younger Nigel. The older one's a little, He's a little rough around the edges, or like,
But he is nicely tanned, though, older still.
he sure is buff and everything.
Yep.
What about you? What's your grade?
Yeah, I give it a B plus, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I looked up that actor now, and he's a good 30, 40 years older now.
I did the same thing,
and he's just your frumpy English actor now. Totally like 180-degree change from what we saw as Nigel in this movie. But I give it a B plus because it is still super fun. I will probably watch it again. I don't know that I'll ever pull it off the shelf and watch it. But if somebody says, "Sky, let's watch Top Secret," or if my boys say, "I heard Top Secret was good, let's watch it," I would watch it again. But it's still highly recommended, especially if you're like a visual gag kind of person, and if you like those
sexual jokes.
Well, sexual
There's
jokes.
a lot of sexual jokes.
Oh my gosh! Yes, we're gonna get to that. There's a ton of sexual jokes in here. I didn't remember it either. But if you're the kind of person that likes like little subtle, inconspicuous visual humor, like when when the camera's panning past something and something's in the background and you notice it and it's funny, if you like that kind of stuff, this movie is full of that. It's not like you mentioned Dumb and Dumber. All the visual gags are right there on the screen in the audio. You can hear it, see it, piece of cake. Top Secret requires some paying attention to for all the jokes. So if you're that kind of person, a meticulous comedy connoisseur, then this is the one for you.
Yeah, especially when you have Nick Rivers or Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is just an awesome name. Like, I want that name.
Is
Val Kilmer?
Like, Tom Cruise isn't his original name. Is Val Kilmer his original name? Because that's got to be one of the strongest names ever, right?
Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. So getting back to Val Kilmer, it's so much better than say Nick Rivers. So I'm going to say Val Kilmer. So Val Kilmer in the background getting suited up or fitted for a tux. So I'm going to jump right to my third lesson. It's literally don't get changed when there's a window anywhere, even in your bedroom. Like, cover it up, make sure, because people can actually, and they will be looking in. But you're absolutely right with the idea of things happening in the background. Like there's such a they're visually storytelling as opposed to like the content of what they're saying and doing. They're showing like the background, even like the pizza scene. They're in the bar hop or the pizza place, pizza parlor, and they're pulling the pizza slices, and you've seen the cheese just constantly stretch and stretch. Guy going like across the room, things like that. Just like, the people that are actually a part of the scene aren't even paying attention to that. Like when Val Kilmer is actually getting changed and getting fitted, the people in the foreground, they're not even knowing or paying attention, but we see, hey, look what's going on in the background.
Yep. And then like when those dancers are up on the table, they're swinging dolls around instead of real people. Absolutely love it. All those visual gags for sure. 100%.
I looked at Melissa. I said, hey, how come you don't let me swing you around when we go dancing? I mean, let's just do it. Here, let's try it right now.
Yep. Speaking of swinging around, there was a early 1990s movie where this guy was a hockey player. He got his eyesight hurt. He couldn't play hockey anymore, so he got into figure skating. It might have been called like Cutting Edge. Do you know that movie?
Yes, I do. I think I remember it, yes.
Okay, well, Denise was watching it the other day. It's on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. Terrible movie. But the signature trick that they do in the end, he's doing pretty much that, spinning her around by her feet, her head's constantly hitting the ground, and that's what you would imagine. Like, I would never try that kind of dance move with anybody. It's just a little too dangerous, but it's fun to watch on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the subtle comedy in this, instead of being like slapstick comedy, it's like the subtle comedy in the background, but there are slapstick style comedy, like the horses or the bicycles being horses. It was rather fun. There's so many funny things inside there, but like, you're right, if you're not actually paying attention, you're gonna miss a lot of the jokes. Like Melissa, my wife, just kind of be like glancing up every once in a while. Oh, how is that funny? I'm like, because it is. It's funny.
Yep. Wow, can you hear all that honking out there?
Why are they honking?
It's a school parade. You know how everybody's trapped indoors and stuff? All the teachers, there's probably like 30 cars of them from the elementary school. They're driving through the neighborhoods honking. My kids are out there. The neighborhood kids are out there like it's a parade. It's a pretty cool idea. Get keep the kids interacted with the teachers and stuff.
That's funny. And so everybody watching on this on YouTube, Sky is literally in his garage and he's looking out the garage door, and we can't see it because it's kind of like to the side of the garage. But yeah, so they're literally outside honking their horns, and we could kind of hear it on the podcast or see it. But yeah, so you can see Sky normally, or he's normally inside of his office, but now he is literally inside his garage. Yeah. That's a beautiful day. Might as well be out.
But Dusty, I've got to say something right now. I think it's about time. The audience will be pissed off if we do not talk about the anal intruder.
Oh my God. All the sexual jokes. And it started with all the girls running and dancing, or the skeet shooting, like running and jumping and all that. That's where it literally started there. And it was all downhill from there. And then I think it culminated in that anal intruder.
Yeah. Well, yes, not culminated. That did kind of hit a crescendo right there with the anal intruder. But then later on, when Nigel was the back of the horse, the back of the cow, and the baby calf, and then the bull comes up. I mean, that was something else too, right there.
That is something else. I loved seeing the cow with the boots on. That was absolutely hilarious. Yep. And then you have his Nick Rivers, or Val Kilmer's handler, or his manager, he said, he was dead, but it took us a half an hour to get the grin off his face. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's just so bad.
Yeah. And that leads to my very first lesson, right? Stay safe with your sexual toys, people. Okay? Don't get too outrageous, too if it has to be plugged in to run, then you've got a potential problem. You just want D batteries. That's it.
Thinking of the manager, the first time you see the manager, when it might be first time, but they're on the train and they're just getting to Germany, and they come and say, tickets, please. And they get the tickets, or, papers, please. He's reading a newspaper. Did you remember reading what the name of that newspaper is?
I don't remember it. No.
It's called the Daily Oppressor. The Daily Oppressor. Obviously, they're propaganda and all that sort of stuff. But I thought so. It's funny things like that, and so that's what I like about these slapstick comedy. Not slapstick. That's not the right way to say it. But these comedies that they're thoughtful. They're really thoughtful on what you can see all around. And it was what was the Charlie Sheen movie that we saw? Was it Naked Gun? No, Hot Shots. We did Hot Shots recently, and seeing all those comedy, like when he opens up, Saddam Hussein opens up his refrigerator and sees like Hungry Nomad and like the cow's milk, or no, like goat's milk or whatever, camel milk. That's what it was. Like all it's just really thoughtful. Like, how can we make this scene be any more funny and put things in there that normally you wouldn't expect? And so I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, something that a lot of people believe, and I believe it myself, it's that comedies are more difficult to do than dramas, right? Dramas get all the credit, like a good drama. Oh my God, he made you feel something, and then blah, blah, blah. But a comedy, it's so much more difficult to make people laugh than it is to make them cry. You just have to have a dour look on your face and have a sad situation happen. My dog died, and then everyone's sad, right? Like, you can elicit emotions really well. It's hard to elicit those laughs from people. There really is. So many comedies flop, and they do terrible because they're hard to do. But dramas seem to me like a dime a dozen, and it's really weird that things like the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes, they really reward dramas, whereas comedies, everybody who does a comedy, actors, producers, writers, directors, they'll tell you that comedies are the hardest thing to do. Dramas, piece of cake.
I would 100% agree with that. I know when you have a comedian, they have to rehearse and rewrite and rehearse and rewrite. I know Jerry Seinfeld, he did like 100 jokes a day or something outlandish, like crazy like that. And he just kept writing and kept writing and kept writing until he really had a solid bank of material he could use. And then he started really, taking off because he just have to continually be doing it. So yeah, I completely agree. There was inside the movie, there was one thing or many funny things. And so when Val Kilmer, I'm going to keep saying Val because it's so much better to say, Val Kilmer meets the girl inside the movie, and they're talking, and she's explaining about her dad. What is funny is she says that he escaped the Jimmy Carter presidency. I just laughed my butt off when I heard it. And he went over to America, and he luckily escaped the Jimmy Carter presidency. So I thought I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was hilarious.
It was really good lines right there. One of my favorites was when he was on the train and he was trying to speak not Japanese, German, and then the translation was, "There's sauerkraut in my lederhosen." One of the best lines, too. Loving that stuff. Yeah, so many subtle things. You got to be paying attention, because if you're just watching the action on the screen sometimes and not really listening to the stuff in the background, or if you're not really paying attention, like you said, to that audio when he's saying he escaped the Jimmy Carter administration, it's really easy to just kind of like, it just goes in one ear and out the other, over your head kind of a thing, But you and I, we're both Drax in this situation. Nothing gets over our head,
Nothing gets over. It sure does. And there's one, let me ask you, which one sounds more evil? Laboratory or laboratory?
Laboratory.
Laboratory. Sure. That's what he says. Like, oh, this is my laboratory. Like, that just sounds like an evil word as opposed to laboratory.
Yep, that's why they do it. They're like you said, they're specifically choosing everything that they say or do for that comedic effect, for that comedic punch right there, and they totally succeed, I feel, in this movie.
So, how many times do you play tic-tac-toe with glass and firearms? I mean, usually it's like maybe once a week is usually what I try to do. What about you?
Yeah, it gets too costly beyond that. I can just replace one window a week at most. Yeah. That's a good one right
so
there.
So yeah, that whole fighting scene, it's just really fun. And it's like jumping on the grenade, to save everybody, but everybody else blows up instead of the one guy that jumped on the grenade.
And then Chocolate Moose pulled off something like they do in Commando, just brrr, and all the bad guys go down, the good guys are still alive, So good.
And as he's doing it, it looks like he's just spraying and praying is what it's called. And then obviously purposefully doing it, making it look like he's just going and just almost closing his eyes and is shooting. But then all the bad guys are dead. That was good.
Yep. Yeah, it was so good right there.
So I got to ask you, what about the first guy that we see? He's the first spy. He gets trapped in the car and, gets crushed. We only see, the last time we see him, if I remember correctly, is literally he's in the car, which was funny. Him in the car, in the crushed car, walking around, and seeing that whatever, I can't remember her name was, the lady in there. That's the last time we see him. Like, is that all that we see of him? He just literally is left there.
I think so. But wait, you forgot the main actress's name?
Yes.
It was Hillary, whose name means whose bosoms defy gravity. How can you forget Hillary?
That's true. So he's talking to Hillary, and he was trying to find the glove compartment. You see the antenna rise up, all that sort of stuff. But like he's the I want to say the main spy, but in the storytelling, he's literally gone. Like that's the last time you hear of him. I was like, oh, where'd he go?
Yeah. And that was I was surprised to see. Didn't remember this. That was Omar Sharif, who back in the 50s, 60s, and maybe 70s was just a really big name actor, and occasionally, those big name actors get put into movies like this, and it's just fun watching them, have a silly role every once in a while, as opposed to those serious kind of dramatic roles,
So every time I see dog poop, I think it's fake dog poop, so I pick it up just to make sure if it's fake or not. Oh man, it's not fake. Shoot, they got me again.
Yep. That's a good one there. You dropped your fake dog poo. What fake dog poo?
What fake dog? So that guy that said souvenirs, or however he said, novelties, party tricks. That's that guy. Yeah, we see him in lots of movies, and he was much thinner then. He still had a chubby face, but in other movies that we see him after, he's a really, really big guy. But he was thinner in this movie. Yes. I can't remember which other. I mean, I could probably look it up, but yeah, I could definitely see him because it's the same guy. You could absolutely tell.
Just younger and thinner.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
He ballooned up in his older age.
So tell me, what do you? Did you watch the? I was trying to think. How can I watch that scene where they're in the book place with the guy with the magnifying glass, or the big one? His eye looks weird. How do we watch that backwards? Like I said, man, I want to watch that backwards and see what they actually say and see. I was reading a little bit on the trivia, and apparently you can actually, if you watch it backwards, they say things and everything like sounds normal, but they're just literally doing it backwards, so it looks kind of different. But I was wondering, do you think we could ever watch it backwards, or is there a scene of it backwards?
I bet there is on YouTube. I didn't even bother trying to look for it.
I probably should. I should just look for it and see if I could find that scene backwards because I just think it's rather fun.
Yeah, I bet if you got the DVD, it'd be like a because I rented it for $2.99 on Amazon. But I bet the DVD has be some behind the scenes stuff, and that would be a perfect like little bonus footage, with the DVD.
It absolutely would because you think about like out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, it's reversed. Like everything's reversed. Like what in the world just happened?
And I think it was just a one take shot, right, from the moment they walk into the place. So that was like a good, I don't know, 90, maybe 120 seconds, a minute and a half to 2 minutes. That's pretty cool right there, dude. I really like that scene a lot.
And as they're walking in the place, you realize they're walking backwards out of the place. You know what I mean? Like it's really that probably took a lot of work to plan that out, to make sure it looks right and all that sort of stuff. And so what they could do is do it one time right way. I hit the microphone. Do it one way right, and then watch it and see what my movements, how do I move, and then go backwards. So I just thought it was really creative.
Yeah, for sure it was. And I bet it was a lot of like watching a little bit of take, practicing your backwards walk so it looks like you're walking forwards kind of stuff. So that was probably a couple day exercise right there too. Yep.
I bet it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me see here. A couple other things. I liked the fourth wall breaking. There was quite a few times when they look in the camera. And I
only counted two.
Ferris Bueller's. What was that?
I only counted two.
Oh.
Maybe there was. So there was one when they said, hey, I'm not the first guy to fall in love with a girl who was, this, that, and the other. Like a big long list of like, no, you are the first guy to actually ever fall in love with a girl like that. But then they look at the camera. So that's one. There was one other one that I can't specifically remember which. Oh, Nigel breaks the fourth wall, I think, one time. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong.
I think so.
So three for me, I think.
Okay. Maybe
do you have any other ones in mind?
I counted those three as well, but for whatever reason, ever since Deadpool came out, I pay attention. I notice fourth wall breaks because I just enjoy it in movies. And Ferris Bueller's last week's episode had a ton of it. More than any other movie, probably.
I think one of my favorite fourth wall breaks, even though Deadpool's hilarious, Ferris Bueller's great, this is great. My favorite one by far is Spaceballs, where they're telling everything that's going on, and Rick Moranis looks at the camera. Everybody got that?
Yep.
And they come back. I was like, dude, that's so funny.
Yep, so incredible. Just recapping the story, and then you got to make sure the audience knows. Such a good way to do that. Yep, loving it right there. The best stunt in the movie. Did you pick up on a crazy stunt that you thought was awesome? Because I've got one idea.
Oh, I should have. No, go ahead and go because I can't think of one right now.
Nick Rivers was fighting with some German dude on the truck, and they were driving across the bridge. I think they were chasing Hillary or trying to catch Hillary. I can't remember the exact scenario. But then they were fighting, and on the bridge, they jump off of the bridge together into water, off of a moving truck on a bridge. It was an amazing, it was probably like 2 stories down into the water. I was shocked by seeing that in a comedy movie like this,
I remember seeing that. I absolutely agree that was terrific because I saw that and I was like, oh, wow, dude, that's tough. Like a lot of bad things can happen. And can you think of another movie for some reason, just literally flashed in my brain. Can you think of another movie where somebody was driving or there was a driving car and somebody jumped out of the car off a bridge into the water?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is Triple X. He had a parachute on. It also happened with Vin Diesel again in a Fast and Furious Part 5, maybe? Him and
but
Paul
it wasn't
Walker
nearly
were on a car and they jumped off. But those are the only 2 I could think of.
Though that was an amazing shot where it's like from the car and you see them flying. That was, I got to go back and watch it. That was brilliant. I loved that because it's literally their faces. I'm pausing because the scene that I'm thinking of is really good. This visually looked awesome. The Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. That was super cool. Now, the one I'm thinking of is very, very similar to this one in Top Secret. Do you remember the movie Navy SEALs?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen is talking to the commander. I can't remember what he was. He was the guy in Aliens. The blonde guy. Dude, how do you remember these people's names? Anyways,
it's Michael Biehn. How can you forget Michael Biehn? Terminator.
Almost like you can't. You can't forget Val Kilmer. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so they're talking.
I'm sorry. Speaking of Val Kilmer, he was his enemy in Tombstone. Another whatever.
I'm a Huckleberry.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Johnny. His name was John. I believe it was Johnny. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that dude. We got to do Tombstone. I'm just pausing it.
Let me write
I'm just
it down.
reminiscing.
Yes, good idea.
Let's do Tombstone's awesome. Okay, now getting back to
The
Navy
Charlie Sheen
SEAls.
scene, yes.
Yeah, the Charlie Sheen scene. So this is beginning before we really see them doing some crazy stuff, fighting and all that sort of stuff. They're talking. He and Michael Bean. Is it Michael Bean? Is that what it was? Yeah, Michael Bean and Charlie Sheen. They're talking in his Jeep, and they're driving. And they get done talking, and Charlie Sheen's like, "All right, I'll see you." And he literally jumps out of the Jeep, off the bridge as it's moving, goes in the water, and Michael Bean's looking over like, "Oh man, that crazy son of a!" And it was the exact same type of shot, camera angle further back. You can see it being like, dude, this guy is literally nuts. Whoever is the stunt guy that did this is phenomenal.
That's cool. I do not remember that at all. I remember, didn't they have a crazy golf cart battle golfing scene? In that movie?
That was fun.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't really a battle. It was just like, it's one of those montages where you're seeing like, it's going like fun thing, then fun thing, and then fun thing, and then ramming people and tipping it over.
That's
and,
what it was,
crushing somebody's ball, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's the only thing I remember.
I remember montages so much more now, or so much better now, because of one of our favorite movies. Actually, it's the best movie that Matt Damon has ever been in. Which one is that?
Team America World Police.
Team America. Yep. It's a montage. Yep. And we play the song a little slower, so it seems like it's going longer. Do that we're gonna got in my brain like, oh, it's a montage. Look at that.
Awesome. Good stuff. Yep. So let's see here. Let's get to our lessons, unless there's let me see here. No, I think we covered all the the last thing we talked about, the sexual jokes. We forgot the penis ballet. Forgot to mention that. Yeah,
that's just hilarious because when you see ballet, that's it's probably about half the size, but they're wearing a codpiece like that. It's just so huge.
Yep, exactly. And this one just put it out there for the world to see.
It sure did.
Yep. Cool. So what other lessons, you and I both mentioned one each so far, what other lessons you take away from this movie?
So thinking, there's so many fun ones, and other spoof movies, like they really help you to think of what not to do, like don't do this. So this is one that's practical that I absolutely can put in my life, is literally just be perceptive. If you're looking around and you're not perceptive, if you are not perceptive, you're not going to see that somebody's pouring poison inside your glass and it's eventually going to melt, or you're not going to see what's going on behind you, all the crazy stuff that's going on behind you because you're so not perceptive. So be perceptive. And we talked about, there's so many things in the background of the entire shots. Like every shot, there's always something going on that you can grab onto, but the foreground, the characters that are in talking or whatever they're doing, they're not noticing anything in the background. So be perceptive. That's something I took away with.
I had the exact same lesson. Pay attention to your surroundings is what my lesson was, because those soldiers allowed a cow wearing boots into the compound? Come on, what's going on, guys? Of course, that's, that in itself is just a funny lesson, but truly be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to what's going on. When you're, approaching a red light and you're going through, always look left and right, just in case somebody could be running the red light, when not approaching a red light, approaching a green, that kind of thing. Just always be aware of your surroundings. Just the goal is to just be as safe as possible. And in today's day and age, you just need to protect yourself as much as possible. So pay attention to your surroundings, be perceptive.
So that was your lesson too. Cool.
Yeah, that was my second lesson. Yep.
Okay, so everybody on YouTube watching me pulling up my phone is because this is where I keep all my notes. So whenever Sky and I go to movies, we have different ways of taking notes. I am the rude one. Sky is a nice one. He gets a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, and he's writing. So the light's not shining in the movie theater and block it, or like making other people like, hey, turn on that phone. I kind of don't care. I do dim the screen. Like I make it as dim as possible, but I don't want to bring a piece of paper. You literally, Sky.
Fat jerk.
I know. You literally brought, hey dude, I know you do this. So I brought you a piece of paper to write on and a pencil.
Yes.
And I didn't.
Yeah. I did. I got you. I want to try to teach you to do the right thing, Dust. Be
considerate.
Be considerate of your neighbors. Exactly.
I know,
Yep.
I know, but I'm always like this. Like if you're watching on YouTube, I'm literally like this. Like try not to let the screen, so it's like as close to my face as
Yep.
possible as I'm typing.
Oh, you know
But
what I
anyway,
did
so
once?
oh,
I'm sorry. We went to the Joe Coy concert a couple months ago here in town, and when you go to a comedy show, the
wait,
lights are
Joe
turned.
Coy came to Fresno.
Yeah, it's a Save Mart Center.
Wow!
Sold it
Oh
out
wow!
too. It was not Save Mart Center. I'm sorry, Selland Arena, but still, he sold out. It was a great show.
And Denise loves Joe Coy, so
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
fun.
she does. We had such a good time. But so we went, and there was somebody 2 rows or 3 rows up in front of me. So I, kind of like, because we were looking up down the stage, I could see him down there on his cell phone, and he turned it on once. And I was saying, "Oh, dude, that's so annoying," because I could see it out of the corner of my eye. And then he put it down. He turned it on again, and he put it down. Then the third time, I said, "Screw this!" I had a gum I was chewing. I took the gum, put it in the gum wrapper, wrapped it up, and I threw it, and I hit his phone. He goes, "What?" And he put his phone down. He didn't touch it again.
What you hit, dude? That is like some Deadpool stuff, dude.
I nailed it.
That's
man.
legit.
That's right. Cream cheese spreader to the head, baby. That's what I'm doing for sure. Yeah.
Dude,
I was
honestly,
proud of myself for that. Really was.
dude, I am impressed.
Yep.
I am so impressed. That's phenomenal, man. Good for you. Standing up for yourself, number one. But number two, bullseye. Like
Yeah.
dead on bullseye. That's
was
so
great.
cool. So did you okay, this is what I'm picturing, and I'm probably wrong. You're getting I'm gonna beam this dude in the back of the head. And okay, so you saw the camera, or sorry, you saw the phone and you wanted to hit the phone. So you actually got what you're going after, dude. That's so Deadpool.
Yep. That's what it was. I loved it. I was so excited about it. So happy.
Did you say, "Hey Denise, did you see what I just did?"
I didn't. We were all watching, listening to Joe Coy, having fun. I didn't say anything till later.
Dude, did he pick up the phone at all?
Later
After that?
on, maybe like a half hour, 45 minutes later, towards the end of the concert, he did. But there was a good stretch where he didn't touch it, and that was good. Fine by me.
Dude,
So now I know from now
I
on, like
love
if
it.
you go to the movies and someone uses the phones,
take some gum.
take some gum, or if you went and bought some M&Ms or something, just keep a few spare ones. Don't eat them all. Ready to start pegging people, because those can go farther than popcorn.
Yes, pop, and it has the air that it's gonna like kind of, and it has the points that are sticking out. It's not gonna be very aerodynamic, and there's a reason why bullets are pointed as like a straight projectile as opposed to a ball. You want it as aerodynamic as possible. So next time, get the gum and make it like a bullet and or like a football. So you get
Exactly.
aerodynamics. So you make sure you hit it. Dude, I'm so proud of you. That's fantastic.
Yep. Love it.
Okay, so my last lesson, and like I said, I'm looking at my phone because I write them all down there like a jerk. Seeing Nick Rivers, I get embarrassed when I watch movies. I know everybody else does too, but I get like embarrassed, like, oh, I can't watch. This wasn't so bad where I'm like, oh, this is so horrible. Like watching The Office, seeing Michael Scott being so embarrassing. Like I literally, like, I can't watch it. I gotta turn it off. I can't watch it. So I know what's gonna happen. This is so funny. I can't watch it. I get so embarrassed. So this, I was getting close. It wasn't so much that because it didn't build up, but this one got me was when they said, okay, they're sitting he just got fitted for his tux. He sits down at the table and they say, okay, we have a great singer. We'll see if he can come up here and sing. And Nick, he's all, I got to do it. What I got to do. Gets up there on before he gets announced and he starts singing. Now it did work out in his favor. He, tore the roof off the place. Everybody else was loving and dancing. But it could have gone horribly wrong. I'm thinking of there are probably movies where something like that happens, but I can't think of off the top of my head for some reason. Usually other movies kind of pop in my head when I think of things. But my whole lesson is literally wait until you're announced of anything. If you think it's you, just still sit, marinate in that second or minute. And then when it says, oh, me? What? Me? And get up.
Exactly. I know what you're saying. You felt that little bit of cringe because he could be super embarrassed. And that's why I can't watch Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents. I can't deal with all the crap that Greg gets. He puts himself through it because he's kind of a dunce and everything. I just can't watch those cringeworthy movies, And when we're watching movies with the boys, my youngest one, Dalen, he gets so cringy at every single moment like that. Even the tiniest little things that wouldn't be cringy, he starts cringing. He feels more than I do in those same moments. So it's funny to watch that.
I think you're like, in the Guardians of the Galaxy, what's the girl with the antenna?
Mantis?
Mantis, yeah, you're empathetic.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you feel people's emotions, not thoughts, but emotions.
Yeah.
And Dalen has that same gift as
Yeah.
well.
For sure, he does. For sure. My last lesson relates to there's sauerkraut in my lederhosen. So if you are going to go to another country, practice the language ahead of time, right? At a minimum, do an hour a day for 30 days, kind of a thing. As you know, Dust, I can't remember if we told the audience, but I had a trip planned to go to Japan for an entire month, but we had to cancel it due to the coronavirus and everything. For 60 days leading up to the trip, I was practicing Japanese a full hour every day with an app on my phone, right? Just practicing speaking. And I was getting ready. I was looking forward to using my Japanese just so that when I get there, I could be a little bit more comfortable asking for directions, speaking to people, that kind of a thing. So I would recommend for everybody as well. You're going to Germany, get that German app for 30 days, 60 days. Going to Mexico, get the Spanish app for a time.
And I think that's brilliant because you're going to need to ask questions like, "Where's the bathroom?" "Donde está la biblioteca?" That's not "Where's the bathroom?"
Right.
So you need to know the general normal common sayings that you're going to have to ask, like, what direction is this, or whatever it might be. So that's a great idea. Especially there's so many apps nowadays that literally can teach you all that sort of stuff. Now, when we went to high school and we were learning Spanish, it was like not conversational at all. It was more like this is the ground level, and then you're going to keep going after that because you're going to want to. I'm like, no, I took 2 years of Spanish, changed my grade, snuck into the computer, did that. That's what I did. I didn't really. I was like, this is exactly. I literally did that. It was bad. But long story short, you look at how you're trying to learn. I'm like, just teach me the sayings that I really, really need. Not saying that every app does that, but yeah, like learning the foundational principles. I'm like, those are great, but I'm not going to remember that in like a year after I get back. So I think that's a great point. Start learning that language so you can have a little bit of. You're not going to be literally stuck in the middle of nowhere because you can't even say, "Where's the bathroom?"
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And the only reason to learn Spanish is so that when you wake up in Tijuana after a bender, you can get back home, right?
Where's my kidney?
Yeah.
Where's
my kidney? Where's the bathroom? Can I have some water? And where's the border? That's all you need. Those 4 things. That's it. And then you ace your Spanish. I mean, you know it all if you know that.
So when we were growing up, we learned in Japanese, because we went to Japan many, many times. We're half Japanese and our dad's from Japan. And so we've gone many, many times to Japan. Growing up, we used a certain word for bathroom. Do you remember that word, what that word was?
Well, we always said benjo, but for some reason they taught us that, and that's just another word for toilet. So, but as a kid, if we said benjo, then they would point the direction and let us know where to go. Yeah.
So I always, exactly. Benjo. That's
so when you went a few years ago, you said Benjo and they thought you were an idiot?
They're like, "What? Benjo?" That's and so here's what happened, because that was literally ingrained in my brain. Like, Benjo means bathroom. I thought that. Yeah. And so now we went to Japan, I think it was in 2017, and I had all the kids say, "Hey, where's the Benjo?" Like, Benjo. And everybody, they would literally cock their head and be like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Do you not know your language? Like, it's Benjo. That's just, and so they say, no, we say in Japanese, they say this, but like the new word is toilet. Yeah. That's all you say. Uh-huh. Where's the toilet? You just say toilet. And that's what they even use is toilet. Yeah. So when we said Benjo, that's like saying outhouse. Or like our old language, like you would never go to a restaurant and say, "Where's the outhouse?" And so that's what we were literally doing, is say, "Where's the outhouse?" every single time. And they said, "No, use the word toilet." I'm like, man, I was totally steered wrong by Dad and our uncle.
How funny is that, man? Yeah, toide. That's all you got to say to them.
Yes, sure. Absolutely. Things like you got to learn how to say McDonald's right. They're not going to understand if you say McDonald's. It's Macodonaldo. Yeah. You have to say that. When you're taking pictures, you have to say, instead of cheese, it's cheesoo, and you put up your fingers, and it's just fun. Exactly.
For sure.
You put up the peace sign, and both of cheesoo.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Cool beans. So, Dust, before we conclude this puppy, any last? Your prop for the movie.
So the only thing I could think of, there's 2 of them, but I'm going to pick one. One is the magnifying glass that the one guy has. That's one that kind of sticks out of my brain. And it kind of goes along with top secret, and there's an exclamation point in the top secret name. Kind of pretty, I don't know, it's out there.
Yeah.
But the one, obviously, for me, I love firearms. I love, pistols and guns and all that sort of stuff. And when you have Chocolate Mousse, his was it a Tommy gun? I think it was a Tommy gun. Like his gun. Yeah, that's I'd take that one.
Okay. My original.
I know which one you're going to take.
What?
I do. I mean, easily the anal intruder.
That's it. 100%. I mean, hey, the Tommy gun's cool and all, but I think we've seen Tommy guns in other movies. I think you might have selected that as a prop elsewhere. You don't need 2 Tommy guns in the house, but I guarantee you don't. Or maybe you already have an anal intruder. That's why you chose the Tommy gun.
It will be a long time before another movie has an anal intruder for us to actually pick. So this is the time. This is the only time we'll be ever able to pick.
This is my time to shine. Anal intruder on the wall right there for sure. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%. All right. So any last things we failed to mention?
Wait. Oh. Were you actually going to say that?
Yes. For sure, that box was just the funniest thing. He picked. It was such a good part of the movie, such a funny joke. I've gone everywhere and I just can't get my wife to orgasm. Have you tried
talk to everybody. I talked to the prince or president. I talked to the
consulate,
diplomat,
the ambassador. Such a good
one. My goodness.
And that'll every time I see that, it'll remind me of that crazy funny scene, and it would be the best for me, the best prop. And the best thing would be every time somebody comes over to the house and they say, "Sky, why is that box out?" Now I get to tell them the story. But what would be best is when somebody comes to the house and they know it and they laugh because they see it, because they love that movie. That's why you want the prop. Well, for those 2 reasons, I guess.
Absolutely. Yep. Love it.
Cool beans. So any last words about this movie?
No, actually, as we've gone through it, it's more the nostalgic thing, but I think I gave it a B minus just after talking it. I'm going to bump it up to a B. I think a B minus is, I gave it a B because of Val Kilmer's in it. He knocked it up a notch.
Yeah.
And so after talking about it, I'm going to bump it up to a B plus. B plus. I'm really not talking really well, but B plus for me. And the reason why is because after talking about it, it's just fun to talk about. Just like talking about Spaceballs or Deadpool. Well, Deadpool is a little action comedy, all combined, or Dumb and Dumber. All that sort of stuff. When you talk about it, it just makes you have so much more fun. So I'm going to bump it up to a B plus.
That's a good thing. There are some movies that are so much fun to talk about with other people. Like this one, for example, is a great movie. Napoleon Dynamite. If you're just sitting there watching it by yourself, it's not that much fun. But when you have a group of friends there, it is so much more fun because then you're repeating the jokes, you're talking about things afterwards. This movie has that group enjoyment factor, I think.
Like, hey, Sky, how much you want to bet I can throw this football over that mountain? Just quotes like that. It's just, yeah. Like, I don't got any skills. It's just, it's great.
For sure. All right. So we kind of chose this movie together. And so I'm going to give you the option. What are we going to learn from next week?
So even though I bumped it up to a B plus, when I was watching it, I was a little more like, man, I just remember it being so much more funny, but it was funny. So I'm glad I gave it a B plus after, reviewing it. I gave it a B plus. I also know I didn't think that this was like the pinnacle of what's the name of the producers or directors
Abrams
that
and
wrote
David Zucker.
Okay, yeah. So these guys are great at doing funny comedies and spoofs and stuff like that. I think I want to have them redeem themselves with an A. Growing up, it was just one of my more favorite movies, and I have lots of favorite movies, but this one's really, really good. I really like Naked Gun. And Leslie Nielsen, he is brilliant. He's visually and comedically just brilliant. So I want to do Naked Gun. What do you think?
Very good choice. I'm looking forward to it. And this also has not only Leslie Nielsen, but also the very well-respected and beloved O.J. Simpson. Don't forget him.
It sure does. And what's her name? Presley.
Priscilla Presley.
Priscilla Presley's in it. Oh, yeah. It's hilarious.
Nice
now,
beaver.
I haven't watched I haven't seen this movie in probably 20 years, too. So I'm kind of thinking, Hopefully it's not going to be the same, but I think Leslie Nielsen is brilliant. So I'm probably just going to laugh so much at him when he looks at the camera and just there's so many fourth wall breaks in this movie, Naked Gun. So let's do it.
Cool beans. I love that idea. Good one, Dust. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for those eyeballs as well. And now you heard what we had to say about this movie, our thoughts, our opinions, our life lessons. We want to hear from you. So visit the show notes page, watchandlearnpodcast.com/top secret, just the name of the movie. Nice and easy for this one. And we'd love to hear from you right there. Alrighty. Until next week, my name is Sky.
And I'm Dusty.
And we will return with
Naked Gun.
Cool. Nice. Cool beans, man.
That was a good one.
Yep, it was good. So I have the